Hi everyone, welcome to Kole Sukailu, Real Aikaiwa Shadowing. Let's get started with today's shadowing lesson. Listen to today's real native conversation. Focus on the rhythm and shadow along. Hyomo, Ishoni, step up, Shimasho. Practice daily to master vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and rhythm. Repeat. Try again and again. Zehi. Shanaru no toroku wo. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
So you're at that point, where you're just done with it. Like, I'm out, I give up. That kind of feeling. What do you even say in English when you're feeling that way?
Right. It's like you've hit a wall and you need to throw in the towel. But in English, there's so many ways to express that feeling. You've got I give up, which is probably the most obvious and most common way to say I quit. But it's definitely not the only one out there.
Exactly. It's not always as simple as throwing up your hands and saying, I give up, Sometimes you're talking about quitting a job. Other times it might be accepting defeat in a game. So that's got to change how you express it, right? What are some of the other ways that, really capture that feeling of calling it quits?
So for when you're just done and you can deal with it anymore, besides I give up, you've got phrases like, I'm done with it. Or if you want to be a little more dramatic, you could say, I'm throwing in the towel, like a boxer accepting defeat. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Throwing in the towel. I like that. The visual is great. And you get that feeling of complete resignation, don't you? It's like, no more effort, no more fight.
Then what about those times when you're done with a particular task or a project? What are your go-to phrases there?
Well, in those cases, you could use phrases like, I'm quitting, or I'm calling it quits. I'm quitting is very decisive and final, but calling it quits can feel a bit more casual, a bit less intense. It's like, okay, I reached my limit here without the weight of I am done. And sometimes it's not a personal thing, right? It's more about the situation can't be salvaged anymore.
That's a good point. It's like acknowledging that sometimes things just aren't working out and it's better to pull back than to keep pushing. Is that where surrender comes into play, like giving in?
Yeah, surrender is great, especially when it feels like you've been fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
Like you've tried your best, but it's just not happening, so you have to surrender and give in. Like, we had to surrender after a long battle. That's a good example, where you kind of can see that surrender is not like I give up when you're trying to do a puzzle or call it quits when you're quitting work. You use surrender when you accept defeat in something you can't win. What if you're trying to say that you are not going to pursue it anymore?
Then you've got give up on, like, I give up on this project. It's about abandoning a plan or an expectation. It's like, I'm not putting any more effort into this, or I won't give up on you, which is a kind of declaration and is the reverse of that, right? There's so many shades here that it's important to be clear.
So true. So in the conversation you just had, those phrases were used, right? Do you think it's useful to go through them again as a refresher? I know that was a lot to take in at once.
It can hurt. I mean, really understanding these nuances takes repetition. I'm done with it. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm quitting. I'm calling it quits. Surrender. And finally, give up on.
Right. And it's all about choosing the phrase that best fits the situation, isn't it? That you'll really nail that down.
Exactly. Context is key to making your English sound more natural. It's not about just knowing the words. It's about knowing when and how to use them.
All right, we've finished today's lesson. How did you find it? Kyomo sukoshi zutsu step up. Dekimashita ne. Honjini. Sugoi desu. Please let me know your thoughts or requests in the comments. And Zehi cheneru no toroku wo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again. Ashita mo, ishoni, gambarimashou ne. See you next time. Bye-bye.